if there's anything you take away from my music, that's cool. I don't mind what it is, because you found something in what I've created to keep for your personal kind of store, and I think that's an amazing thing.
Welcome to the Cheers and Strings podcast, the show where I talk to musicians about what's happening within the local music scene, as well as listening to some of their original music. So today, my guest is Sam Fraser, who's a singer-songwriter from the Essex area. He's got a really good in-depth knowledge of the local music scene and has been performing live since he was incredibly young. Should be a great episode, so let's dive into it. So Sam, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm buzzing to be here.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, no, all good, man. Life's good.
Yeah.
Life's good.
Brilliant. So we recorded some of your songs earlier.
Yeah, man.
Some really good stuff.
Thank
Really
you.
looking forward to getting into some of that. Before we do that, could you just take me back to when you first got into music and what first inspired you to get into it?
Absolutely. So music, I think, I hate the cliche when people go, I've been playing music since I can remember. I've been singing out the womb. No, I haven't. That's not true. You weren't. You're learning to talk. So for me, I think I've always been in like a musical household in the respect of my mum and dad. Mainly my dad always played music all the time, but that was about as far as it went. So I had a good education of music, of what's good, what's exciting, what's new, from an early age. And then in infant and junior school, I had those classic guitar lessons where you learn how to play Fraser Socials, and you don't really remember it and take it any further than that. And then, yeah, when I got to like 10, 11, I met this guy who came and did a workshop at my school and was like, you can write songs. I was like, what? You can write songs? You can make stuff up on your own? And we kind of rolled with that for a bit, and I ended up having guitar lessons with him, and then picked up singing along the way, realised, I can kind of hold a tune, and then just kept going from there, kept those lessons up for a couple of years, and then discovered the live world, which is where I reside now. So that's kind of my journey in. I just met this guy who went, you can write a song about anything you want. And I was like, anything. And at the time I was like an angry 10-year-old who just hated the world, and took that and went, I can do whatever I want with this. And that was kind of my journey in, for sure.
So do you remember when you first got into gigging then?
So I think I'm trying to do the maths, but I think it would have been like 6 years ago. Okay. Six years ago, maybe just before. So I remember, I think the Christmas before my 15th birthday, I had seen loads of people busking, and I was like, that is well cool. I was like, that is a bit of me. And naturally, as a young teen, my parents were very nervous about me going on the streets and singing to strangers. So I begged and begged him. I said, I really want this equipment for Christmas. I'll pay you back all of that. I didn't, but I said it. It was a good thought. It's a long loan, you know what I mean? At some point I'll pay him back in some capacity. But yeah, and then from there, I kind of did busking as a start, and then I met a beautiful group of people called So Slam in Southend who put on a young musicians songwriting week in the April, and from there, on the back of that week, I went to my first open mic. And I was hooked. I was like, I want to do loads of these. And I remember walking around my town and trying to find open mics and looking at some bars and being like, that looks a bit scary. I won't go there. And yeah, from there, so probably since then, I've been playing live as much as humanly possible.
Yeah. So has there been any specific gigs or venues that stand out for you?
I think there's so many great venues, especially in the kind of Lee Southend area, that are trying to champion original music. I do a bit of both, so I play my original music at gigs, and I do those gigs, and I love those gigs. I also play in pubs and stuff, and those still stick out because there's some great nights that, regardless of how much it goes against my creative being, I'm like, they were still good, so but yeah, there's some great venues. 10 Green Bottles in Lee has been instrumental in kind of defining me as a performer, and giving me the best training in dealing with drunk people that one could ever ask for. But also we've done some incredible intimate nights there where, we've had 20, 30 people, and for some reason people have come and wanted to listen to sad music with me, which has been awesome. And then 21 down in Southend as well has been a massive mainstay, and that's on venues that are still here today. You've got your greats like the Railway Hotel that I got to experience a little bit in its back end for sure.
So when it comes to performing, have you ever had any performance anxiety or anything like that, or has it always come sort of naturally to you?
I think I was always like in the choir in school as a kid. Well, I was in the band of the choir and I wasn't very good. I was playing the bass guitar and I didn't really know what was going on because my music teacher loved the Beatles and it felt like everything we did was the Beatles. And there was like this constant, I like the Beatles, but it was a lot. And I think I always just kind of got that buzz, that excitement, being around people that also wanted to be there. I don't know if it was that or the fact that we got off of school an hour early to go and perform somewhere. It's probably a mix of both. There have definitely been times where I've felt anxious to go on stage, but you just kind of harness those emotions and turn them into an energy. I feel like people that have seen me play live, or in particular have seen me in a build-up to a show, know that if I start talking at 100 miles an hour and not making much sense, I'm probably a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
But it's very excitable.
Yeah, so how often do you generally gig and how do you find your gigs?
I try to gig as much as possible. I think it's great practice. I typically might gig covers once a week, which just helps things ticking over and allows me to financially back my original artist project. The original gigs are a bit harder to come by. You could definitely manufacture them yourself and kind of be like, I'm going to play here once a week, and you can go to open mics and play those things. And especially starting out, like, you probably see them as more of a gig as opposed to an open mic, whereas now I look at that as somewhere to test out new material or this, that and the other. But yeah, gigging original stuff, I like to think I have at least like one a month, which is a nice focus to have.
As well as performing, do you often go to see other artists?
Yeah, I love watching live music. I think it's so cathartic. It's so inspiring as well. I think watching people, and you learn from everyone. I've always been a big believer in learning from people as opposed to learning through lessons. You learn from people kind of talking and from being around people that are doing things that you want to do. So going to gigs is a really cool thing. The bigger scale shows, you aspire to do them, and you see people do things and you're like, wow, that was really cool. I can hopefully do that one day. And the smaller scale stuff, you're almost like, it's great that this stuff still exists and you can just enjoy music at its core and at its grassroots level, which is amazing.
So you were talking about being inspired by other musicians there. So what is your ultimate goal when it comes to your music and what you're trying to get out of it?
Yeah, that is a great question. I think there's two parts to that, because I think that the second half of that question, what I want to get out of it, I'm already getting. You start writing music. I like to think anyway that everyone starts writing music to help themselves, and you write music because it fulfills something inside of you. And I do that. I write to process. I write to understand how I'm feeling, and so that beautiful side of music I get to do on a regular basis, and I feel like I succeed in that. And when I kind of can make one person feel the same as me at a gig, job done. I'm happy. That's the best feeling ever. If someone goes, I related to that. That wasn't my intention, but now I'm really happy that you have. It's really weird. I feel like musically, when you set out, you kind of be like, I want to make money from this. I want to make a career. It's not about money, but if you can do it as a job, that's kind of that thing. And I got shown this side of the industry, playing weddings, parties, all of that, where all of a sudden I was in this space where I was making, I could see a world in which I could make a full-time living doing that stuff, and it doesn't quite fulfill me in the same way that original music does. So I think just having the opportunity to sustain a career in whatever capacity that is, that might be as a songwriter, that might not be in the limelight. I love performing, but as long as I'm doing music to a point, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant, because I think quite often people just have this goal in mind, But if you're enjoying it, if you're enjoying the process, then that's all that matters.
That's it, 100%.
And obviously, it would be great to get to that point to build yourself up to have a full-time career in it. But if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world because you've loved it. Every
Exactly.
Step of the way,
the journey's the most important part. You speak to anyone that's doing those perceived incredible things, and they'll be like, "But it was getting here that was the fun part. Now this is just the fun on top."
So in regards to writing your own original music, when did that come in?
That was probably like quite instantaneous with learning my first chords on the guitar.
Right, really?
As I say, I there was this workshop at school and it was all about songwriting, and I was like, this is incredible. I was like, this is so cool. And I remember the first song that I properly wrote, I found values and RE really weird at school. I found that a really difficult topic to kind of get on board with, and we had this homework and we had to write an essay or whatever it was, a piece of work about an emotion. So I just wrote a song about being nervous, and it wasn't a song in my brain, it was a poem. It didn't have a melody or anything. And then I went back to my guitar teacher and we were like, you could sing that, you could make some melodies with that. So I did, and it ended up being like a massive rip-off of a Foo Fighters song. I don't know what one off the top of my head, but I listened to a lot of Foo Fighters as a kid, so that was probably why.
Me too.
Yeah, love that. But yeah, that was kind of the first song, and then from there, as everyone does, I wrote some dreadful songs, some songs that I think are important to see the light of day at some point because it shows people the process. But also, if we can bury them and hide them, I'll be happy.
Yeah. As I said earlier, we recorded some of your songs. What was the first one that we did?
First song, it was The Elephant.
The Elephant. So could you just tell me a little bit about that and how you came to write that?
Yeah, so The Elephant is a song all about social anxiety, being around people. It was something that I struggled with a little bit. I'm getting a lot better at being around people and social situations. I kind of know my own boundaries now. But I wrote the verse really randomly one Halloween where one of my best friends was like, there's this party, and it's my sister's friends. And I was like, why would I want to go to that? And she'd asked me way in advance, and I'd got into my head that if I don't get a costume, I don't have to go. And that was kind of my notion. I was like, if I don't sort something, I'm just going to panic on the day and be like, I don't have anything to wear. And she was a bit upset that I didn't come, but, that was my boundaries at the time. And I wrote this verse for The Elephant, and I was like, that is well cool. Put it on the internet. Loads of people watched it, and then I got really nervous because I was like, there's an expectation now that this song is done, and it's really not. And it took me like a year after that to finish the song. But yeah, it just kind of goes around the idea of sometimes feeling like a burden in certain spaces.
Yeah, so when it comes to putting songs like that out, because they're so personal to you, do you ever feel hesitant to put it out there?
I think a song like that, because it kind of had a moment before it came out, I was quite comfortable with putting it out because I already had that proof that it was going to help people and help people process, and it's continued to do that over the time that it's been out. Even now sometimes I'll forget to put it in a live set and people be like, that's like, I really got that. There are definitely songs coming of mine that will test those boundaries further, because I think in some ways, the truth will always hurt people if they haven't come to terms with it. And I'm not here as an aggressive songwriter. I like to think I just observe things. And so there are definitely songs that will put those boundaries in place. But that one in particular felt more of a healing than anything.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Let's give it a listen.
This one is the Elephant. Look, it's the elephant in the room, and it's me. Just another social situation I'm not meant to be in. Look how I stand out, burden on your evening. I shouldn't be here. I'm just a waste of space. I can be replaced. I'm stealing someone's oxygen. I'm taking someone's place. I'm just a waste of space. I can be replaced. I'm stealing someone's oxygen. I'm getting breathless. I'm feeling restless. I wanna escape this hell that I'm living. Can't get out of your business. Tell myself that I'll miss it. Force myself just to feel things. I'm the elephant in the room. I'm the elephant in this room. I think that there's some boundaries that need addressing. I hate being third wheel, kinda depressing. I know that you wish that I'd join in and try be more friendly, but I hate new people. I'm just a waste of space. I can be replaced. I'm stealing someone's oxygen. I'm taking someone's place. I'm just a waste of space. I can be replaced. I'm stealing someone's oxygen. I'm getting breathless. I'm feeling restless. I wanna escape this hell that I'm living. Can't get out of your business. Tell myself that I'll miss it. Force myself just to feel things. I'm the elephant in the I'm the elephant in the room. Whoa, I'm the elephant in this room.
Right, so when it comes to songwriting, how do you usually approach that? So would you usually start with an instrument, or would you start with the vocals? How do you usually go about it?
It changes every time. I think it changes every time for everyone. I feel like songwriting is really difficult to be systematic. I think it's healthy to make it kind of a habit. Even if it's like, I like to make sure I write something down every day. It might not be a whole song, it might not be anything, but just the habit of being creative is quite important. But yeah, for me, I mean, my voice memos on my phone is like a sacred place. If I lost that, that'd be difficult to recover from. I like to use pen and paper quite a lot, but all my kind of ideas melodically, both instrument and vocal, are on there, and it literally just depends on where I am. I could be walking down the street. I do it publicly quite a lot as well. I'll just be out and about and I'll hear something, I'll get my phone out and like just sing it, and I'll be like, I can't read it loudly, but if I don't, then it's going to sound like cars and wind. And so it starts from anywhere, and then sometimes it will come out all at once, sometimes it will take a long time and revisiting, but yeah, it changes every time for sure.
Yeah. So you've released some music relatively recently, yeah?
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about the recording process of that and
yeah,
how that went?
For sure. It definitely changes each time. I think this year I've come back to releasing music, which has been awesome, and it's just been about working with different people. I work with a lot of different songwriters who don't see themselves as producers, and I've convinced them that they are producers because it's better production than I've had in the past. So that's been awesome. And yeah, we kind of just, a lot of the songs I put out, some are written solely by me, which then I might go to different producers and be like, I want you to produce this. I might go to some of my friends that I write with and go, I think you'd be good at producing this. And then other songs I've put out have been written with other people, and we've recorded a demo on the day and then all walked away and be like, whoa, that was actually quite good, we should kind of do something with that, and then just built the tracks from there and brought in the necessary people. So the process kind of changes song to song, but I like the people that I work with, and I kind of tend to go back when the relationships are good.
Yeah. So do you ever produce stuff just on your own?
I try and make demos when I think it's really good, where I work with other people and we might write a song and put a demo down. I think it just helps you to hear the song more as a record as opposed to something that you've written on an instrument that day. So with songs that I write now, I try, and it doesn't sound great. My production skills aren't where they need to be. But I like learning about that and learning those processes. But it definitely helps just to bring the song to life and make it feel more like a record as opposed to just a song. So,
yeah, and it is all a learning process, isn't it? Like anything else, like learning the guitar for the first time.
That's it.
There's so much stuff, and it's never something that you're going to finish as well.
No, exactly. That's the exciting thing.
Because it's so subjective. There's so much that can be done, and that's the great thing about it. You can just keep trying different things and come up with some cool and interesting stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So overall, in terms of your style of music, what style would you typically say that you write?
My best friend will tell you it's classic 4-chord pop, which is something that I definitely find myself get stuck into. When I write with other people, when I write outside of my project, I am very good at not doing that, which is nice. But yeah, my music typically is all about the lyrics and the stories that I've got to tell and that emotion. I feel like probably a big part of my style is not being polished on stage. It's kind of owning the moments of not vocal perfection, but the feeling that I emulate is probably more so. So yeah, just hitting those. The style is basically hitting all those topics that people don't want to talk about because they're different. They're difficult conversations to have.
Yeah.
And that would be my style, mixed in with that kind of pop songwriter packaging.
Yeah. Over the years, has your music changed in any way, would you say?
Yeah, I think it's constantly evolving. I think it's constantly changing and challenging its own kind of confines. I think I meet people and sometimes they're like, oh, you sound great on a rock record. I'm like, I've done that. That was one of the first songs I put out, as a song called Painkiller, which people still listen to today, which freaks me out because I think I sound like a little girl in it singing. But it is,
I have heard it actually,
and it is cool, and I think that's has that appreciation for my early album listening. Like I've got like a core AC/DC, Foo Fighters backbone mixed with everything else, but as a kid that was like two of the main albums. Had the Wasting Light album from the Foos and then AC/DC albums,
right,
and I think that rocky angst is kind of still emulated with that kind of I have something to say energy in my music now. But I love everything. I think there's, if someone come to me and went, I want to do a jazz record with you, I'd be like, hell yeah, love listening to jazz, and so I think it's constantly evolving. I think I don't like being confined to one style. I feel that's quite dangerous.
Yeah, there's something I was going to ask actually in terms of like trying to stick to a specific genre. Like, do you feel it's important, like from the audience's perspective, to have a specific genre that you focus on, at least to an extent? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it all comes down to your relationship with your audience, because I think some artists will have an audience that's based on a certain type of music. The way that I like to think that my music connects with my audience is through the messages that I have to say. So I like to think that whatever way I package them, it's still about the message. And especially with my live performances, like people that have come to a Sam Fraser gig, will know that you're in for a very rough night emotionally, because I'll be doing a lot of comedy on stage and joking around and kind of self-deprecating comedy. It's like a very weird art that it confuses me at the best of times, mixed with those heavier songs. So I think everything's kind of focused around the topics. So I like to think that I could branch out. It might catch people off guard, but I think that's an exciting thing to be able to do, for sure.
I've got a quote here from you about one of your songs, and I just wanted to just read it to you and just ask you about that. And,
Yes.
and typically whether you write your music in order to help someone and have that in mind. So you said this song hopes to serve as a conversation starter between friends and act as a catalyst for people to speak up about their emotions, especially in their darkest moments.
Yes.
So that was about
Coffin.
Coffin, yeah, that's
Yes.
it. So do you typically write music with that in mind?
I don't necessarily go in to be like with that as the purpose, being like this song is going to help people. I kind of naturally let it flow out of me. I think the way that song came about in particular was kind of based on a conversation between friends anyway.
Right.
And it was very much like we're talking about songwriting, and my friend is very puzzled by the fact that you could just give me a guitar and I could throw something together. It might not be cohesive and finished, but if they went sing about ducks, I'd be like, yeah, cool. Or whatever topic, And he kind of turned to me, he said, could you write a song as if your friend is struggling with a battle, probably like a mental battle, kind of reaching out to saying, are you okay? To which I immediately asked him if he was okay, because that felt like a very niche opening to a heavier conversation, and he was all good, and this song just kind of poured out. So I think I never go in thinking I'm going to create a conversation here, and then it's only when I step away and be like, whoa, there's an opportunity here, that it's exciting to be able to have that kind of ability to do that.
Yeah. So do you want to listen to another one of your songs?
Yeah, I think we should listen to Coffin, if that's
Coffin.
cool.
Yeah, that would be a perfect segue. All right, brilliant. Let's give it a listen. Yeah.
This next one is called Coffin. Your silence is scary. I wanna talk, you don't have the words, and I get it. You would if you could, and I know how it hurts. Can you help me to understand? Can you read the words you've rehearsed and planned? I hear you calling, no one's watching. I'm here for you tonight. Oh, they got your tongue wrapped up in silence. Oh, they take their time, your mind so violent. Say you take my call, your eyes your phone haunts me. Oh, you want it all, the world's so daunting. You're a lost cause, but you're not quite gone yet. You can hear my words, you don't acknowledge. Say that it's a fact, say that you're falling. I'd rather hold you now than be carrying your coffin. You're halfway to your grave. You paved the goddamn way. I wish I'd stayed. Something's gotta give way. Oh, I hear you calling. No one's watching. I'm here for you tonight. Oh, they got your tongue wrapped up in silence. Oh, they take their time, your mind so violent. Say you take my call, your eyes your phone haunts me. Oh, you want it all, the world's so daunting. You're a lost cause, but you're not quite gone yet. You can hear my words, you don't acknowledge. Say that it's a fact, say that you're falling. I'd rather hold you now than be carrying your coffin.
Okay, so when it comes to putting your music out there, what extent does social media play a part in that process?
Too big a part. I wish it was less.
Right.
It obviously it's become a massive part of the industry now. It almost is that dictating voice probably more important than labels. And I think the higher up in the industry you go, the more scared that they are of the ability that social media has to basically forge careers without having, that backing. So yeah, for me, it's definitely something I get excited by. I love creating things that look really cool. I love working with people, and yeah, I think it's a great way to connect with people. When live shows are so hard to put on, and then if you can put them on, they're so hard to not lose loads of money on. So then I kind of look at it and I go, well, at this point in my career, is it more logical to invest in making something that I'm really proud of, that I can't really lose out on because it has like a evergreen life and could pick up at any point? Or so social media is definitely massive in making those decisions as well as to what to put out. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think COVID must have made a big difference with that, because where everything shut down, and a lot of the live shows came to a halt, I think it changed the way that they do things creatively and things like that, or it at least sped it up, that process. So I think it's a big thing now.
Yeah, definitely.
Not that it wasn't before.
No, but yeah, as you say, I think the pandemic definitely changed the outlook for both creatives and for consumers on music as a whole. As you say, I think all of a sudden there was a bigger appreciation for live music, because everyone was like, we don't have it anymore. We can't just walk out of our front door and even go and watch, your local band play covers in a pub. Like you lost everything. And so yeah, it definitely forced people to collaborate more as well, because you can get stuck in your own head quite quickly and not run out of creative juices, but convince yourself that there isn't anything else to give. So yeah, it definitely changed the landscape, I think, for the better. But as everything recovers, you just got to hope that things like live music make that full recovery, and then I think at that point it's definitely a beneficiary.
Yeah, I think there'll always be a hunger for live music.
Definitely.
I don't think it's ever going to go away altogether, no. But there is just so much more of that online aspect of music now. Yeah. So in regards to musicians that you might see, say musicians that are coming up and might be looking to a more experienced musician for advice, what sort of thing would you advise for a musician that's just starting out?
There's so many things. I think I get really excited when I meet a young musician. Firstly, I'm still a young musician, but people that are kind of the age that I was when I started out, when I meet them, I get really excited. Invariably, I'm meeting their parents as well. It's like quite fun, and I get really excited, and I'm like, this is gonna be amazing. You're gonna love this. And all I'd say to them is, practice does definitely help. That's a big thing. Don't neglect that, but also practice outside of those traditional realms of practice. Take yourself out to meet musicians and do the stuff that isn't spoken about. Go to bars, experience it, try get playing as soon as you can, even if you don't think you're ready. I always say that, especially in places that are occupied by musicians, but even just by general public, getting up on stage and doing it is commendable. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you can actually get up and get through a song, that's invaluable training, and people will never tell you that you were dreadful, even if you were. Like my second ever open mic, a great band played before me, a local band who'd just been on a tour. This is kind of like their comeback shows, open mic, but a lot of people come down to see them. And I remember I got up on stage and everyone walked out because they'd just been on, and they hadn't left, they'd just gone outside because the band had gone outside to have a smoke, have a drink, and so they'd all gone out to speak to him. And like, I was with my dad, and I remember walking off stage, and we're in the cricket billet in Oldley, and you can kind of walk out of there via the toilets at the back. And I got off stage and I said to my dad, I'm going to the toilet. And he knew straight away. He was like, yeah, like this is done him in. Like, he's not good. So he got my guitar, and I cried the whole way home, and it freaked me out. And I'm still here. You've got to have those experiences that definitely mold you. So I just think get out, play, ask questions as well. That's a big thing. I meet a lot of young musicians now that like might be at college, might be at school, whatever it is. Ask questions. Don't be afraid. No question is it's silly. Even if it's, oh, where can I play my first show? How do I plug a microphone in? Like, whatever it is, like, nothing is too far-fetched to not be useful, because we were all there at some point learning.
Yeah, absolutely. If we go back to what you were talking about earlier in regards to collaborating with other musicians,
Yeah.
Do you have anything coming up, like collaborations with other musicians or producers that you're looking forward to?
I think one thing I'd definitely love to do in the future is more kind of your traditional collaboration, as per say with an artist, where it's like both of us on a project together. But a big part of the industry that isn't spoken about massively, that is, working with songwriters. All of your favourite records invariably aren't just written by the artist or the band. So a lot of my music that's come out so far has been written with some incredible people that I get the pleasure of calling friends, which is an amazing honour. There's some people that are pure songwriters in there, some people that are some of my favourite artists on the planet. So a couple of songs that have come out in the past, songs like I Want It All and I Love You But I Need More, have been collaborations in that respect. All of my songs are collaborations with a producer of sorts, which is awesome. There's a song of mine, hopefully might be coming out this year, might be next year, called All At Once. I think my friends will kill me for saying next year, so we'll go with this year because they like that one. But I wrote that with a very good friend of mine, Ryan, who is unbelievably talented, so talented as a writer. I'm really excited for that. And then, just the other projects I've written with a friend of mine called Tom before, but he produces a lot of my stuff now. So it's a constant collaboration, which is super exciting.
Yeah, so to what extent would you say that has helped you like grow as a musician and as a producer? Yeah,
it definitely helps tenfold. It's so amazing working with people and being around people that kind of at that next step in their career, or the next step in your career kind of thing, and you're learning constantly. I feel like I'm consistently put in rooms now with people that are late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and they meet me and they're like, whoa, you're 21? Like, that's like really cool. They went, you've got so much time. I went, really? You've got time? That's amazing. But you learn from everyone you meet, regardless of whether they're the best at what they do or they're in a similar position to you. There's something to learn from everyone. So just being able to work with these people, meet these people, see the way that they go about writing a song or produce it, there's something to learn every time, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so when it comes to like the recording process, how does that generally work with your music? So do you record in people's home studios, or is it like in a professional recording studio environment? What sort of thing is that?
It's been a bit of both, for sure. I love the home studio energy. I think it's an incredible thing. I think when you're in a home studio, regardless of who you're working with, I think there's a natural bigger energy, because everyone's like, oh, we could make something incredible here in this room, and that feels almost like outlandish and bigger than, say, going to an Abbey Road and going, we've made a hit here, which would be incredible. I'm not gonna, if someone goes, come record at Abbey Road, I'll bite your arm off, you know what I mean? But I think there's a magic in home studios, so a lot of what I've been doing has been that.
Yeah. So your main instrument is the guitar, yeah?
Yeah.
But do you play any other instruments?
I think play is a very loose term. I'm teaching myself piano, which is always really strange, because when I write with other people, traditionally we get the best stuff out of my writing on piano. A lot of the songs that I play live were conceived on the piano. I feel I get a lot more emotion and rawness out of a piano, and I don't know if that's whether, again, because my guitar skills are limited to a point. When I'm creating, I can play a lot of stuff, but when I'm writing, I kind of get stuck in those same traps without even realising it. With the theory behind it, I might move my capo and think I'm playing something different, and realistically, right, I've already written that song. And so I like to try and pick up new instruments, but I'm not the best learner.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing, because I think especially piano versus a guitar, it's such a different instrument. You can get so much more out of it if you start looking at different instruments and different steps. Like I've at times I've written songs on a bass guitar, which isn't typically like what you're likely to do. Do you know what I mean?
It opens other doors.
Yeah, or even drums, which
I love that though.
Kind of sounds crazy, but like, I mean, I kind of like that because it's a different starting point, you know, and it opens up the
energy of the song, gives it a different focus. So.
Yeah. All right, cool. So what was the last song that you played for us, or the next one that you want to talk about?
We'll go with I Love You But I Need More.
That's one that you professionally recorded.
Yeah, that's been released. That was a song that I'm so proud of. It's one of my favourite memories in a studio. I wrote it with two friends of mine, Tom and Blair. Tom, I wanted to work with for a while. I now get to work with all the time, and it was the first time that we'd ever met each other. And I went to his home studio, and he said to me on a day, he was like, "Oh, my friend Blair is here. Is it cool if they come in on the writing session?" And I'm on my phone, I'm going, Blair's like one of my favourite songwriters. Like, Blair is just innately talented, so talented. So I was like, yeah, please let them stay. Like, let's do that. And we wrote this song, which isn't a breakup song. It sounds like it at the best of times, but for me, it's about, you know, making that leap of kind of committing to stepping outside your hometown a little bit and going on to do bigger and better things to return. I love my hometown and it's great, but to progress as an artist, you almost have to step away and, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the song.
No, that's interesting because, I thought it was a breakup song actually.
Yeah, I always say, I always kind of get to a point in my live sets now where I tell that story, not in its entirety. I just say this isn't a breakup song, but if you think it is, that's well cool. I haven't been through a breakup, so I always say that whoever breaks my heart first is getting a banging album on the back of it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool because I don't think it even matters in many respects, does it? Like, because people get what they get from it.
Exactly, that's it. If there's anything you take away from my music, that's cool. I don't mind what it is because you found something in what I've created to keep for your personal kind of store, and I think that's that's an amazing thing that anyone can take anything. We kind of packaged it like that. We did go into it. We were kind of working out what we were going to write about, and we were like, oh, let's just write like a breakup song. And I was very much on like my laurels. I was like, no, I need to write about things I've been through. And as the song progressed, we got to, I think it was the second verse, and at this point I'd kind of got my confidence back up. I was like, I'm in a room with two people I really like, but I need to like back myself as an artist here. And we wrote the second verse with the kind of sharp staccato lines about my hometown, and I was like, wow, okay, here we are, now I'm locked in, I know what this is now. And from that point we were like, this song had a completely different energy, but it was always there, we just hadn't found it, which was a really cool thing.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Right, let's give it a listen, yeah?
Yeah. Call my bluff, I know you always will. Every good intention leaves me hanging round beside you still. Hold me back, I know you always will. Whenever you need me, call my bluff and I'll come back to you. You say, don't go yet, I'm running. You know I love you, but I need more. Don't go yet, I'm running. There's a big world out there, I wanna see it. You gotta let me walk out the door. There's a comfort in the way that you hold me for sure. You know I love you, but I need more. Hard to leave a life I know so well, 'cause every time I try to, I see you in the eyes of someone else. I miss that bar on Broadway, I miss the changing tide, I miss the faces of the people that I left behind. It's hard to leave a life You say, don't go yet, I'm running. You know I love you, but I need more. Don't go yet, I'm running. There's a big world out there, I wanna see it. You gotta let me walk out the door. There's a comfort in the way that you hold me for sure. You know I love you, but I need more. Wanna leave you, but I'm not sure. Left my bags outside the front door. Have I gone what I stayed for? You know I love you, but I need more. A big world out there, I wanna see it. You gotta let me walk out the door. There's a comfort in the way you hold me for sure. You know I love you, but I need more.
So that was I Love You But I Need More, yes?
Yes.
So that was actually really well produced, that recording. Can you tell me a little bit, I know you've told me about the actual collaboration side of things, but what about the actual recording side of things?
So I was just buzzing with the demo we walked away with on day one, and I think we all were. We were very, very excited by it, and my initial plan was to take it to the guys that had produced my previous record, I Want It All, and I still work with like both of those guys, but at the time there was things going on and they just couldn't take on the project at the time, which birthed the song into the way it is now. So I just said to Tom, I was like, you know, do you do much production? He was like, I do little bits, but I see myself as a songwriter more so. He now does loads of production. But yeah, and I just said to him, I'd love to do something with this, and with Tom and Blair, they're both kind of a bit further ahead in the industry. They understand, you know, splits and this, that, and the other. All the kind of old paperwork style stuff that I didn't know much about, and they were like, we'll do this, and everyone was like, yeah, that's really good. Like, that's almost too good as a deal. And yeah, Tom just produced the song up and just built it out from where it was, and I'm buzzing with how it turned out. It's
yeah, and that was all within his home studio.
All within his. Actually, that is not strictly true. We loved the song so much that we then decided we were going to hire a studio just to do vocals. So we built the whole song out in his home studio, and then we felt that the vocals could do with a little bit more punch, and he didn't have the equipment at the time to get the sound. I think he had a microphone in his head that he was like, that'll sound really good on my voice. So yeah, we went up to London for literally a couple of hours. I think we were in there for like 2 or 3 hours. We just booked like this little studio, probably the same size as his home studio, but just had this specific mic. We recorded the vocals there, but all very like homely vibes there. We never intended to do that. It just ended up working really well on the track.
That's brilliant. As I say, it sounds great, and it was piano led, yeah.
Yeah. So we wrote the song on guitar. I think initially, like the idea was actually, you know, on the guitar, which is weird considering what we said earlier about kind of a lot of my songs coming out on piano. And then we just started playing it through. I felt piano was a really natural point for the recording to start. But it's very much a bit of both, that record for sure. But I'm really happy with the journey we took it on. I think in some ways it was almost like the reverse, because normally I think piano is really good to add to a guitar-based track, and that happens a lot. So we thought we'd go the other way and bring guitar in later and then the piano, which has worked quite well, I feel.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. As I say, it sounds fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Earlier you mentioned, I can't remember whether this was on camera or off camera, but you mentioned a little bit about busking.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've done much of yourself?
I used to do quite a lot of it. I probably haven't been busking in about a year, but
right,
when I first started out, it was like a crazy buzz. I think that mixed with the fact that it's probably the highest paying job I'll ever work as a teenager that looked a lot younger. And so the best way I can describe it is that I was a 15, 16 year old, maybe 17 at a push, lad going out into his hometown who looked like a 12-year-old and sounded like a girl. So it was a genius money making ploy, but also it was probably the perfect training. Musically, you learn not to be listened to, and that not everyone's going to care, and that was kind of cool. You learn a lot more songs, which then you can thread into your songwriting and your covers as well. It was amazing. I've really enjoyed it. I met some incredible people through it. I formed closer bonds with some of my best friends through Busking. Ended up going and doing a bit for the Busking London scheme, which I'm still on. I think I don't really know how they haven't taken me off that yet. They probably should, but every now and again I think about kind of going up and doing one of them as well. I think it's just super exciting. It's a really good way to bring people together, and yeah, it's definitely given me like the perfect performance training. You won't have a harder performance than busking, I feel.
Yeah.
So it's done wonders.
Yeah, it's something I've not done myself, but yeah, I mean, I imagine it must be a both a daunting and an exciting experience.
100%. I think, especially for my parents, the big thing is, oh, he's gonna get robbed. Like he's gonna get told he can't. And all these like ideas, which are very valid, by the way. I'm not here to be like that was weird parenting. It was amazing parenting. And the first couple busks I think my first ever busk I took my mum, and then after that I took my dad to most of them. But I went out with my mum on like a random day in half term, and I was like, Mum, I really want to do this today. And she was like just buzzing I wanted to do something, because invariably I'd be the one like tapping her arm all day going, Mum, I want to do something, I'm really bored. I don't just want to, none of my friends want to play football today. I don't want to sit on the Xbox all day. So we went out and did that. And I think if you scroll far enough on my Instagram, you'll probably find a video of that very busk, which sounds very weird. Don't do it. Don't scroll that far. But yeah, it was an amazing day, and from there I just got hooked on this concept that people liked what I was doing. So
yeah,
it's amazing. It's a really, really good experience to do at least once.
Yeah, so is that something that you had to like pre-organise, or is it something you can just show up and just do it?
Depends where. I think the beauty of it is that a lot of this information is readily available on council websites. I know councils aren't the most fun to deal with at the best of times, but yeah, they can be great, and they were quite accommodating, particularly. So I used to do a lot of busking in Southend, and there's lots of rules and regulations there, but also there's kind of a blend between the rules that are set out and the rules that the buskers make. And it's just common, there's common practices and courtesies. There are time restrictions, but as long as there aren't other buskers, no one's too precious over that. You always meet people in everything you do, not just busking. Wherever you work, whatever job you do, where people will be difficult and try and take advantage and this, that and the other. But yeah, it's really, really easy to get into. As I say, some places will have apply for a license, and you can't do it here, you can't do it there. There's certain pitches, but yeah, I think it's all pretty readily available online. And if you go in and you're just a good people person, even if you're in the wrong when you do it, police don't want to prosecute you for doing wrong on accident. You learn, you go, I'm really sorry, like I've had that a couple of times. I've been to new places and they've been like, oh, you can't do it specifically here, but if you go 10 metres down the road, you're good. And it's like, no, that's life, Yeah, it's great to get into for sure.
So you've done a few competitions in the past.
Yeah.
Could you just tell me a little bit about your experience with that and what that was like?
Yeah, I mean, the oldest competition I did was something called Factor Essex, which was a very strange experience. A good one, nonetheless, but one I learned a lot from. I met a lot of great people from. Definitely a weird time in my musical life where it was kind of like an X Factor style show where there'd be themes and
where was that?
That was where was it? Grays?
Okay.
I think it was in Grays. That sounds right. It kind of moves all over. So I auditioned in a school. Don't know what school it was. It was a long time ago. But yeah, that was really fun. It was like all ages, and I ended up coming second in that. And I always jokingly say, but it's probably the best thing I've ever come second in, because each week it'd be like a public vote style. It wasn't online. It was like in person, and I've never been one to like beg my family to come to events and be like, we've never been that family that like do something like that and bring 30 people each week. I'd be lucky if I got my mum and my dad to come. I normally get one, sometimes none.
So was it an audience voting?
Yeah, it's an audience vote, but everyone had like 2 votes, so you'd vote for your person you come with and then someone else, so
right.
It was a bit fairer, which was basically how I did so well, because invariably I was the only one that played a guitar most weeks, so I'd by default in my brain get the second vote for having a guitar.
Yeah.
But I always say, whether this was true or not, but they told me that in the final there was one vote between me and the girl that won, and my grandma voted for her, so I'm buzzing about that, because the she got to record a single and this, that and the other. But I think everything happens for a reason, and I'm really glad that I wasn't tied into that, because I think it would have been too early for me to start thinking about releasing. And then I mean the other competitions I think are less competition like. I think there's a great songwriting competition, and I think everyone that's done it will say that is a very loose term. The competition format is something that facilitates its existence but doesn't necessarily encompass the energy of it, and that is something called Battle Lines, which is a locally run to kind of Southend area songwriting competition. As I say, I'll keep saying competition, but it's never felt like that for me, where you get given a line and a month to write a song with that line in, and then at the end of that month you go and perform it, and there's an audience vote and you pick a winner and you go through and there's a final and this, that and the other. But I probably credit half of my performed catalogue to Battle Lines, because of just the pressure that it puts you under to actually finish songs. I'm not great at finishing songs, so that's really good. The last season that I was in, I ended up winning, which was awesome. And I'd done a couple of seasons where I'd semi-finals consistently, and it was really nice. I've got some of my favourite songs out of it. Some songs that I've released have come out of Battle Lines, and it just forces you to write and actually complete songs. So it's an amazing thing run by a guy called Chris Robson, in collaboration with So Slam. 2 amazing things for the local scene. Chris is the biggest champion for local original music I think I've ever met, and what a guy to be involved with. And I kind of met him through So Slam, who again just I can't even speak highly enough of So Slam and what they've done for Southend Acoustic. I was going to try and do the acronym then, but I'll fail if I try. But it's Southend on Sea Live Acoustic Music Original something. I'm close. Right. I'm there. But anyway, Ian that founded that is the most incredible guy. Never takes anything from the artist, just loves original music. Has done so much for me and so many countless others. So if you're local to the Essex area, get involved with that as well. If you're coming up in music, it's a great people to be involved with.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting, because it's not your typical just normal like talent competition.
No, not at all.
That must make a real difference in terms of making people think about what they're writing.
100%.
It really
it's
sounds interesting.
More like, I think, as I said earlier, I think it feels more of a way to just facilitate a night of original music that is different. Like it's almost hard now to get people to come out to original music nights consistently. If you would like to put on one a month, you might have a really good start, and then you'd be doing something really right to sustain it. And I think that's why it works, because ultimately by having different people that in theory need people to come down and vote for them, some people do take it like quite seriously and will bring lots of people down, but that might be A, because of the competition, but B, I almost feel more so because these people don't perform that much, so it's an opportunity for people to come and watch them. And I think it's just a way of, as I say, creating that space that people want to come and watch. There's plenty of nights. Chris also runs a thing called the Pin Drop Sessions, which I've had the absolute pleasure of playing multiple times now, which is probably my favourite format of music. In a room, no mics, no amps, no speakers, just me standing with my guitar, singing my heart out. And I think it's just finding creative ways to put on nights that celebrate original music, and Battle Lines is just one of those ways that does it phenomenally well.
Brilliant. Sounds fantastic. Right, so in regards to you and your music, where's the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to listen to the songs, any kind of streaming platform is available. I've been known to make CDs. If that's your bag, just drop me an email or a message and I'll try and sort them out. I've got some blank CDs and a burner kicking around, and I'm more than happy to obviously facilitate that, because I just want people to enjoy my music. And then social media wise, everything hopefully is Sam Fraser Music. I post lots of weird and wacky stuff on there, along with the more professional, polished we're releasing a song kind of stuff. So yeah, just come and say hi. Drop me a message as well. Don't be afraid, I'm a human. I'm not some person that is unobtainable and hard to reach. I want to chat music, I want to chat life. Talk to me about sport, anything. I'm down and I'm there. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a great conversation, so thank you.
It's been amazing. Thank you.
So that was Sam Fraser. If you're a musician or a band from the southeast of England and would like to be on the podcast, then just email me at the address below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.